But that would at least be a good explanation for this weird law.
Yes.
Instead, the act was instituted to try and clamp down on illegal.
Namaste. Today we are going to watch regular things that are illegal in United Kingdom. So, you always think like, okay, there are things that are illegal, like drug trafficking, like human trafficking, or like you can say murder. Of course, murder should be legal in every country. So, but then you feel like, okay, what are the regular crimes that you can do in any other country, but that could be illegal in your country? So I am very excited to see what will be these crimes that will be illegal in UK, because in India, if you see, the legal crimes, the regular crimes would be like eating KFC beef chicken. So like, okay, or beef, because if you eat beef in India, then there is a very high chance that is illegal also, but there is a very high chance that people might come and beat you. So don't ever try and do that, and don't even try to like talk to people about it, because it can be hurtful for many people. So I think that can be a regular thing for other people to do in their country, but it is not very thing. So, and also like respecting cows and doing all these things. So I think that most of the British people know about what are those regular things, but we don't know what are those regular things that are illegal in UK. And I will try to do that in UK if I get to do it sometime. So let's see this video.
And seriously, I'm also so much excited to watch this video. And previously we have seen a lot of videos. Basically they talked about the only things which only exists in the UK, or the things which every person's do here, or the food. Basically we are in these days we are exploring United Kingdom, but we are not familiar what are the things that are illegal in the United Kingdom. I do think that there are obviously they are in India and in United Kingdom there are going to be very similar things, but obviously the punishment going to be different. If we talk about India, so I do think that here basically the actions, basically the government administration doesn't do the proper actions which are required. But I'm also so much excited to know that is basically that in United Kingdom government administration do strict actions or not. So these are my few questions, and I hope we're gonna get to know the answers here in this video. And we all know that Britishers are so strict, and obviously United Kingdom is going to be very strict. And if we talk about the in India, so in India, if you steal something, then obviously here is not that much big punishment. If we go in the Dubai, and if you gonna steal something, they're gonna just cut your hands. So the punishment differ from country to country. So yeah, I'm so much excited to watch this video. So let's watch the video.
Yes, and if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe the channel. So let's watch this video.
The United Kingdom, once it was the greatest superpower in human history, as well as a place where you had to pay fees to have facial hair, and where handling fish suspiciously is still a criminal offense. These are regular
I would
things
have to
that
pay
are
fees.
illegal in the UK, not practicing
are going
archery.
to be punished,
Everyone has different
Bhavan.
hobbies and interests, but up until 1960, it was actually illegal to not practice archery in England.
Not practice.
This law may no longer be around, but it's without a doubt one of the strangest laws ever enforced.
Yes.
But why was England so hell-bent on forcing all adult males to practice archery? Were they putting together the biggest Robin Hood cosplay in history? Not quite. It actually has a lot more to do with the French. Well, to be honest, with the rest of Europe. See, for a long time, England's favorite hobby in the world was to fight
Conquering.
literally everybody. Though its feud with the French has lasted so long that this 140-so-year break in the bickering and fighting is more of a pause. In past days, few archers were as feared as English longbowmen, who combined great accuracy with incredible power. These massive bows could deliver arrows hundreds of yards, and were powerful enough to pierce even steel armor breastplates. As an added bonus, longbows were extremely cheap and quick to manufacture. While each sword or shield cost a significant sum and days of labor to make, a good longbow took a fraction of the cost and the time. That meant the English could outfit many, many longbowmen, a handy thing when you're constantly at war. It was thus required that the Englishmen regularly practiced with the longbow, as any one of them could be conscripted at the drop of a hat. For a time, accidentally killing someone with a longbow was also not punishable by the law. All this went away relatively recently, when the Unlawful Games Act of 1541 was replaced with the Betting and Gaming Act of 1960. using your phone to pay at a drive-thru. Modern technology has created an absolute wonder in your pocket, a device capable of looking up any information you could ever desire and letting you speak in real time with any human being on the face of the earth who also has a phone. But perhaps one of the most convenient uses of a smartphone is the ability to pay for everything from online purchases with a swipe to
Yes.
stuff in the real world with just a tap. Even before the pandemic, many businesses were adding contactless pads for payment, and now they're all the rage. You simply tap your phone to the pad and presto, your payment is complete. But pull that stunt at a drive-thru in the UK and you'll be facing a fine of £200 or
Why?
$59.17 fish and chips. Why? Because the UK takes a pretty stiff stance on using your phone while driving. And unless you shut down your engine or engage your parking brake, quickly tapping a phone for a payment at a drive-thru window before grabbing your food still counts as using your phone while
Oh,
operating
this is
a
a good
vehicle.
one.
If the
Yeah.
bobbies catch you doing it, you can expect not just the aforementioned fine, but 6 points on your license.
Oh.
No getting drunk at the pub. Shortly after the invention of alcohol, mankind invented the pub.
So where do you
a place
get
to
drunk?
go and consume said alcohol with little to no judgment. Pubs are great local watering holes where you can catch up with your friends, your community, and catch up on all the gossip. Just don't go thinking you can get drunk at one, because it's 100% illegal to get drunk in England at the place designed for you to get drunk. Per the Metropolitan Act of 1839, it is illegal for the keeper of a public house to permit drunkenness on premises. So every time you push past getting tipsy, you're basically breaking the law. And so is the pub owner and bartenders. In the US, many places have policies that forbid their bartenders or waitstaff from serving more alcohol to someone who is clearly drunk.
That was a
But the
new
UK
thing which I
codified
got
this
to
into
know.
law with the Licensing Act of 2003. So next time you're out for a bender, make sure you keep a sharp eye out for the fuzz, or you might end up getting sober inside a jail cell.
So you
Handing
get out of
fish
the pub and
suspiciously.
then you can do it.
We've all been there. You're walking down the
Handling
street when
fish
suddenly you spot a guy
suspiciously?
coming your way. In his hands is a large bass, and he's holding it in a most suspicious manner. Is it a weapon of some kind? Is the fish stolen?
What
Is it
am I
even a real
watching?
fish at all? You may never find out, but make the move in England and you can rest easy that nobody will ever handle fish suspiciously around you ever again, because it's illegal. What in the world does this law refer to exactly? You'd think it might have to do with sushi, perhaps. After all, is there anything more suspicious than supermarket or gas station sushi? But no, this law heralds back to the Salmon Act of 1986, when salmon attempted to overthrow the throne and take control of Britain for themselves. Well, not really. But that would at least be a good explanation for this weird law.
Yes.
Instead, the act was instituted to
Seriously,
try and
it's
clamp
so
down on
weird.
illegal fishing, poaching, and shady trading of fresh fish. With
how will you
fish
stop
stocks
that?
declining around the world, illegal fishing was hurting the very populations that the British people depend on for their beloved fish and chips. And nobody, we mean nobody, messes with Britain's fish and chips. Hitler tried once. Look what happened to him. The Salmon Act of
Wow, you guys are
1986
amazing.
punishes anyone
Seriously.
receiving or disposing of salmon in an illegal manner.
Oh my
But the act has
God,
been
they are
expanded on to
selling it
include other
for
fish
illegal?
such as trout, eels, lampreys, and smelt. We had no idea lampreys were even edible. But we're fully behind any regulations that seek to protect wildlife populations from exploitation and overfishing. If you live in Britain or plan on visiting, make sure that when you buy fish at the supermarket, you don't handle it suspiciously. And you should stay on the right side of the law with this one. No police or military costumes. In the US, a large network of volunteers works to identify and publicly out individuals impersonating police or military personnel. Called Stolen Valor, the effort has been highly successful in identifying people who may have tricked even friends and family with false accounts of service, often accompanied with a hefty amount of fake military medals. However, it's not illegal to dress like a police or military member to an extent, as long as you're not actively trying to fool people into thinking you are one. Hence why the two professions remain the costume of choice for Halloween parties and Chippendale shows. But in the UK, they take things a bit more seriously. According to the Seamen's and Soldiers False Characters Act of 1906 and the Police Act of 1996, it's illegal to pretend to be part of the military or police. We're not really sure just how far the UK government is willing to go to punish you if you showed up to a party as a sexy policeman, but given the punishments for handling fish suspiciously and getting drunk in a pub, we're not sure we want to push it
So like,
either.
what if someone is
Carrying a
dressed like
plank
that
of
on a
wood.
Halloween?
Maybe you're helping
These
a
are the
friend
new
with a home
things
renovation. Maybe you're just putting up a new
I got to
bookshelf.
know, and they
Either
are
way,
so
you're walking down the
weird.
sidewalk with
Plank
a
of
large
wood?
plank of wood when suddenly the rozzers are slapping handcuffs on you and dragging
What
you to
will
jail.
carpenters do?
You just made a big mistake because in London it's illegal to carry a plank of wood on the sidewalk. According to Section 54 of the Metropolitan Police Act, you cannot carry a plank of wood along the sidewalk, unless you just recently unloaded it from a van. So, if you're bringing a spare plank of wood to your neighbor or perhaps bringing it out to throw it in the
You will
bin,
be thrown into
congratulations because you just earned yourself a whopping 500-pound fine or
500-pound
151.52 fish and chips. Why does London take such harsh stance on builders? We're not sure, or
That's
perhaps
the
there
news
was a
from the
spree of
van.
plank-related crime that we're unaware of. Either way, if you plan on building some new bookshelves in your London apartment, maybe try dragging your new shelf instead of carrying it. That shouldn't technically be illegal. Just forget about wheels, ladders, or poles, which are also illegal to carry down a sidewalk unless you've just unloaded them from a van. Which kind of makes us think that at some point London was plagued by a circus-related crime spree. Knocking and running. It's a childhood game
Knocking
as old
and
as
running?
doors. A
Don't
group
tell
of
me
children
that is
gather
illegal.
together, egging
Is
on
it
one member to
illegal?
run up to the nearest house and give the door a good loud knock.
My
Then the group
God.
flees, giggling
In
all the
India,
way until they stop and the
we
next member
do
builds
these
up the
kinds of
courage to
things
knock
a
and run.
lot,
If you're ever on the
especially
receiving end,
when
it's
we are a
mildly
kid.
to moderately annoying. But as a child, it's undeniably great fun. Try it in England, however, and you'll face another fine of 151.52 fish and chips, or 500 pounds. The Metropolitan Police Act of 1839
These
makes
are
the
the
activity of
weird
willfully and wantonly disturbing
things
any
which I
inhabitant
would-
without lawful excuse a criminal offense. And if caught, you'll basically be giving up your allowance for
Isn't
the
this
next few
plain
years.
stupid?
No lingering after a funeral. Funerals are somber, very sad affairs. Nobody wants to attend one, but unless you cut all ties with family and friends, you'll eventually have to. As a time-honored tradition, funerals allow loved ones to say goodbye to the deceased and can help process the grief of tragic loss. Typically, there's a small graveside ceremony with a religious figure of some sort, some words of comfort, and the group might recollect some fond memories of the deceased. Then you have one final chance to say your goodbyes before the coffin is lowered into the grave and the dirt is piled atop it. It's a very difficult affair for most people, and the finality of it all can leave people processing it for days or weeks to come.
Yes.
But you don't dare linger around the gravesite after the ceremony is officially done in England, or you'll be answering to the bill as they come to give you a stiff fine. Some of the laws in this episode obviously are rarely, if ever, enforced, but sadly this one was in fact enforced in 2015 when a man was fined 160 pounds, 48.49 fish and chips, for lingering an extra 20 minutes at his wife's grave.
my
No
God,
doubt
that
caught up
is
in the grief of his
horrific.
loss, he was still forced to pay the fine for a law meant to allow the gravediggers to work undisturbed, which was actually a valid concern for a Victorian-age England that was rife with grave robbers looking to sell your deceased friends and family to unscrupulous doctors that wanted to practice their surgical arts. Maybe though this is a law that can be officially retired, but for now make sure you head home briskly after the casket's in the ground or Britain will fine you for being sad. No cutting in
Bad.
line. Nobody
No
likes
cutting
a
in
lawn
line?
cutter. It's basically one of the
In
first
India,
things you
it
learn not to
happens
do in
a
preschool.
lot.
Sadly, there's still plenty of people who are fully functional adults and still think the world revolves around them, and cutting in line is no big deal. Try that in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, though, and you'll get slapped with a monstrous 1,000 pound fine.
Pounds?
303.03 fish and chips. To be fair, the law applies to cutting in line at the subway, or tube as it's called across the pond. And for once, this is a law we are fully behind and would love to see implemented at basically anywhere. Perhaps especially at concerts and nightclubs where jumping in line is habitual to the point of criminality. Honking your horn.
Honking your
Who hasn't honked their horn in anger after being cut off?
Oh,
or because the guy in
India
front of
would
you
be
was too busy
looted
texting
again
to see
if
that
this
green
law is
light?
passed in
Try
India.
that in jolly old England and the plod will have something to say about it. The law expressly forbids individuals from sounding their horn aggressively after being annoyed or frustrated. It's also illegal to honk a horn while the vehicle is stationary, or in a built-up area between 11:30 p.m. and 7 a.m. Violate this law and you'll face a fine of 50 all the way to 1,000 pounds, 15.15 to 303.03 fish and chips.
This is the most funny and weirdest video I have ever seen. I thought they're gonna talk about, rape or the serious crime basically, but literally this video was totally opposite the way I thought. Firstly, they said that the honking the horns are crime in United Kingdom, and literally I got shocked and I was like, if Indians will go to the United Kingdom, and most of the Indians, 90% or 95% of the Indians will go to the jail in because we Indians have a habit of honking the horns. And second, they said that basically jumping the lines are also illegal in United Kingdom. So these are the few things which we Indians do on a regular basis, and I do think there is no Indian who has not experienced these things in India. Basically we face these things on a daily basis, like honking is very common in India. Second, basically jumping the line is illegal. Basically, India is a male dominating society, and especially I do think that male jump the line so quickly. Okay, so let me tell you my yesterday story with you. So I went to the bank and I was in the line for like 15 or 20 minutes, and here this guy came, basically this uncle came, and he made this another line, and he just gave his check to the cashier. So I was just staring at him, and I was just thinking on my mind that why this happens, so why this is so common in India, and why India is a male dominating society. So I feel that in India it should be that government should also introduce this law in India, because it is also very common in India. And that fish law was also very insane for me, and literally also that you cannot drink alcohol in the pub. So that was also the weirdest law for me, because in India after 10 p.m. the every employee of the pub and every person who come into the pub are always get drunk. So I was like that why it is illegal in India. So yeah, these are the few things which we got to know about the United Kingdom, and literally these are insane.
And yes, I would like to disagree to Vanchika. Like, okay, I feel like it is not about like male domination or something like that. I feel it is the all the adult people do that. Even I have seen female adults do the same.
Yeah,
Like there are
yeah.
some like
No,
aunties will come up to me
only
and they
I
will be
do
like,
I do think the people of like it's not our generation who do this. Basically, the older generation do these kind of things, especially.
yes, I have seen many aunties say to me like, okay, beta, please, I am very late, or
Yeah.
like I have these things happening, please let me go first, and this and that. And they always like run into it, and then when we see them, then they are doing their normal jobs and they are not actually running late, but it's their habit of just jumping the line. So I think that this is a good law, but like 1,000 pounds is a very big thing. But I think so, yes, if you don't have that kind of a big question mark, then you won't like resist people to do it. But there was some really strange ones, strange laws that I think so that should be abolished, like staying on the like after the deathbed, you staying near that for like 20 minutes, and he was fine. Like he lost his wife, how could he not sit there and just cry about it? And like police came in and they gave him the fine. That was so sad. And also the other thing was carrying a plank, that could give you a fine. Knocking on door and running can give you a fine. I would have spent most of my time in jail when I was young, because I used to do that a lot. So these are some hilarious ones. Do let us know, like, how are you people? Like, do you get angry with these things, or do you think these laws are okay? And like as he said in the video, that these are not so practiced laws. So do you want these to be like implemented a lot heavier way, or what do you want to do? Let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
Subscribe.
bye.
Bye.